Hello, welcome to OJ Studios. Please enjoy this week's chapter of Ballet by Lacey Rice.
I woke up the next morning feeling like my body was too bulky. I was back in my male form, my normal body. I was no longer stuck as a girl wearing girly clothes. Instead, I was back to being a teenage boy again. My relief was palpable. The previous day's ordeal had been like something out of a bizarre dream, and I was glad to be back to my usual self. As I got ready for school, I couldn't help but think about what Lucas and I had gotten ourselves into. Our plan was risky, and now we had to live with the consequences. I grabbed my backpack and headed downstairs for breakfast. Mom was already in the kitchen, preparing her usual morning cup of coffee. She glanced up at me, a knowing smile playing on her lips. "Good morning, Owen," she said, her tone light. "Sleep well?" "Yeah," I replied, trying to sound casual. "I guess I did." Mom's smile widened. "Well, that's good to hear. Just remember, you have ballet class again on Friday." I nodded, trying to hide my discomfort. "Yeah, I remember." As I ate my breakfast, I couldn't shake the feeling of dread that had settled in my stomach. How were we going to keep this up? And what if someone from school found out? The bus ride to school was uneventful, and I was grateful for the familiar routine. Lucas and I met up at our usual spot by the lockers, and he greeted me with a grin. "Hey, Owen," he said, his voice cheerful. "Ready for another day of high school?" I forced a smile. "Yeah, sure." Lucas's grin faded slightly as he noticed my hesitation. "Hey, don't worry about it. We'll figure this out. Besides, it wasn't all bad, right? We got through the first class, and no one recognized us." I nodded, trying to take comfort in his words. "Yeah, you're right. We just have to be careful." Throughout the day, I found it hard to focus on my classes. My mind kept drifting back to the ballet studio, to the strange sensation of being Cassie. It was hard to reconcile the two versions of myself, the awkward, self-conscious boy and the graceful, confident girl. At lunch, Lucas and I found a quiet spot in the cafeteria to talk. "So, what's our plan?" I asked, keeping my voice low. Lucas shrugged. "We stick to the original plan. We gather information, get closer to Monica, and hopefully figure out a way to get her to notice us. And we make sure to keep our cover." I sighed, feeling the weight of our deception pressing down on me. "Yeah, that's not what I am talking about." I said, "What's our plan going to be to get out of being Abby and Cassie twice a week?" "I don't have one." Luca whispered. "Great," I muttered, feeling the frustration bubbling up. "So we're stuck doing ballet as girls for who knows how long." Lucas gave me a reassuring smile, though it didn't quite reach his eyes. "We'll figure something out. For now, let's just take it one step at a time." I nodded, trying to convince myself that everything would work out. "Yeah, one step at a time." The bell rang, signaling the end of lunch. As we gathered our things and headed to our next class, Lucas and I fell into step with each other, our conversation shifting to more mundane topics. It was a relief to talk about something other than ballet and our secret identities, even if only for a little while. The rest of the school day passed in a blur of lectures, assignments, and the occasional bout of daydreaming. I couldn't help but replay the events of the previous day in my mind, wondering how we had gotten ourselves into such a strange situation. As the final bell rang and students began to file out of the classrooms, I felt a sense of unease settle over me. Lucas and I met up again by the lockers, and we walked to the bus stop together. "So, are you ready for Friday?" Lucas asked, trying to sound upbeat. I forced a smile. "Yeah, I guess so." Just a little nervous, you know? Lucas nodded, his expression thoughtful. Yeah, me too. But we can do this, Owen. We just have to stick together and stay focused. I appreciated his optimism, even if I couldn't fully share it. As the bus pulled up and we climbed aboard, I couldn't shake the feeling that our plan was teetering on the edge of disaster. The bus ride home was quiet, each of us lost in our own thoughts. When we finally reached our stop, Lucas and I parted ways, each heading to our respective homes. As I walked up the driveway to my house, I couldn't help but feel a sense of dread about the upcoming ballet class. How would I handle being Cassie again? And what if something went wrong? I pushed open the front door and stepped inside, the familiar scent of home wrapping around me like a comforting blanket. Mom was in the living room, flipping through a magazine. She looked up as I entered, her expression curious. How was school? She asked, setting the magazine aside. Same as always, I replied, trying to sound casual. Well, Lucas's mom called. She invited us over to their house for dinner tonight. Cool, I said, putting my book bag on the table. Yeah, I want to leave in a few hours to get over there. That will give you enough time to become Cassie, practice your ballet, and become Owen again. Why do I have to become Cassie to practice the ballet moves? I asked, really not wanting to become a girl again today too. Because you need to get used to the ballet moves as Cassie and not as Owen. Mom said. I sighed, realizing that arguing with Mom wouldn't change her mind. She was determined to see this through, and I had no choice but to go along with it. Reluctantly, I headed to my room to retrieve the potion that would transform me back into Cassie. Once in my room, I took a deep breath and uncorked the vial, the familiar pink liquid shimmering inside. With a sense of resignation, I took a sip, feeling the now familiar sensation of the transformation wash over me. My body shrank, my clothes loosened, and I once again found myself in the form of a 10-year-old girl.
Alright, Cassie, I muttered to myself, let's get this over with. I changed into the leotard that Mom had laid out for me on the bed. The pink leotard felt just as uncomfortable as it had been the day before. At least this time I don't have to also wear tights too. I glanced at myself in the mirror, the reflection of Cassie staring back at me. I tried to push aside the discomfort and focus on the task at hand. I took out the little booklet that I got yesterday and rehearsed the different positions of ballet. As I moved through the positions, I tried to remember the instructions from the ballet class. First position, second position, third position, each movement felt awkward, but I kept at it, determined to get it right. The image of Monica's graceful form flashed in my mind, reminding me of why Lucas and I had embarked on this crazy plan in the first place. Mom peeked into my room, her eyes lighting up with approval. Looking good, Cassie. Keep practicing, and you'll be ready for Friday. I forced a smile, trying to hide my frustration. Thanks, Mom. She gave me an encouraging nod before disappearing down the hallway. I continued to practice, the repetitive movements helping to distract me from the anxiety gnawing in my stomach. After what felt like an eternity, I finally took a break, collapsing onto my bed in exhaustion. As I lay there, my mind wandered to Lucas. How was he handling all of this? Was he struggling as much as I was? Mom walked into my room to find me lying on my bed. Good, you're done with your practice, she said before she walked over to my closet and grabbed a girly outfit out of the closet and put it on the bed. Get dressed, Mom said. I thought I was going to be turning back into Lucas, I said, picking up the purple t-shirt and jeans, both were obviously for girls. I got the times wrong, Mom said. By the time you change back into Lucas we will be late. I wanted to say something, but I know that it can't. Of course Mom did this on purpose, she had always wanted a daughter, this was her chance. I sighed and took the clothes from the bed, knowing that I didn't have a choice. I quickly changed into a purple t-shirt and jeans, the fabric feeling strange and unfamiliar against my skin. Once I was dressed, Mom smiled approvingly. You look lovely, Cassie, she said, her voice filled with genuine warmth. Let's go, we don't want to be late. As we headed out to the car, I couldn't shake the feeling of discomfort and frustration that had settled over me. I tried to push aside my negative thoughts and focus on the present, but it was hard. The prospect of spending the evening as Cassie, especially in front of Lucas and his mom, was daunting, even more so since Lucas will be able to say as a teen boy while I'm stuck as a girl.